Hi, I'm Ellie Waddington, a hypnobirthing teacher, positive birth advocate, and mum to two feral but adorable children. You are listening to the Belle Mama Hypnobirthing and Positive Birth podcast. This podcast is here to empower you with the tools, knowledge, and confidence you need for a calm, positive birth experience. Together, we'll tackle the big questions, bust some myths, and share practical tips for your journey into motherhood. Plus, you'll hear inspiring real birth stories from mums who've been there, and expert guests sharing their wisdom and insights. Whether you're planning your first or adding to your tribe, I've got you covered, so let's dive in. Hey gorgeous mama, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Oh my goodness, we are on season 3 and I am so excited to get stuck into this season, guys. I've got so much good stuff lined up for you. We have guest interviews, we have birth stories, and I'm so excited to get stuck into it. And yeah, if you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you found the podcast. My name's Ellie. I am here to help you have an amazing birth experience. If you are not new here, welcome back. I am so glad that you're back, and I hope that you are well on your way to feeling more confident, more positive about birth. Love and hugs to everybody. Welcome. Let's get stuck in. Well, actually, no, before we get stuck into today's episode, I just want to ask a massive favour. If possible, could you please leave a little review on whatever podcast platform you are listening on, whether that's Apple or Spotify or YouTube or whatever platform it is that you are listening to this podcast on. Please could you go and leave a little review? That is so helpful for getting the podcast out there and getting it noticed. And if you are listening to this while you are on a walk or wherever, if you could take a little selfie, share it on Instagram and tag my account on Instagram. Let's get the word out there about the podcast. I would be so grateful. That would be amazing. So guys, we are now in 2025. I'm a little bit shocked by that. I still can't quite believe it. I know that everyone says that, like, oh my god, I can't believe it's the new year. But I genuinely am a little bit shocked that it's 2025. It just kind of occurred to me the other day that I'll be turning 35 this year. And in my heart of hearts, I still feel like a teenager. I still don't feel like an actual full-blown adult. But here I am doing adult stuff in 2025. It's been a year since I launched my online hypnobirthing course, the Hypnobirthing Toolkit, and it has been a wild ride. I absolutely love it. I love the women that I get to support. I love the Facebook group. I love doing the monthly live classes. If you don't know, the Hypnobirthing Toolkit, it is largely pre-recorded content. I've got so much pre-recorded stuff on there, but also once a month we get together on Zoom and we have a live class or going a bit more in depth to some of the more tricky topics. We get to have conversations, you get the live time with me, and I just absolutely love it. That's one of my favourite things about the Hypnobirthing Toolkit is the live classes each month, because when I created my online course, I knew that I didn't just want to have, the type of course where you just record the videos and then people just download it and you don't have anything to do with them. I still wanted to very much be part of your story, part of your transformation. I still wanted to witness that transformation. So yeah, I love the conversations that we have. You can find the link to the Hypnobirthing Toolkit in the show notes down below, and if you use the code podcast, you can get yourself 10% off at the checkout because I love you so much. Now, it is the new year, as we have already covered, and my word for this year is health. I have decided that I'm going to take my health a lot more seriously this year, largely off the back of a very long period of flu over December. It was absolutely mad. My husband and I both went down with it so hard, and my husband doesn't go down with illness very easily. Like, for him to admit that he's sick and that he's in bed and he can't do anything, that's a bad illness, that's a bad day. And so we both had days where we couldn't move out of bed. And I'm not saying that if I had prioritised my health a bit more that I wouldn't have got sick, but I am saying that I think there was a lot more I could have been doing to help my body fight this illness, to make it strong again. There was a lot more that I think I could have been doing. And it's just so typical. When you're a mum, your own health, your own well-being, it just takes such a back burner. You prioritise literally everyone else around you. So when you have your baby, literally your own health, everything, it just goes completely out the window. You have this tiny sack of potatoes that is so helpless, that literally depends on you for everything, and you have to dedicate everything to them, your body, your time, literally everything. They're so dependent on you, and that's, of course, that's okay. You love them with all of your heart, but everything else just takes a back burner. And then as you get to as they get a bit older, and you have their schedules, you have the school run, you have clubs, you have birthday parties, again, you're prioritizing them and everything about them, and you and yourself and your well-being, again, that it's just not a priority. And so you find that you don't have time to exercise. You don't have time to plan proper nutritious meals for yourself. And me in particular, I don't know if anyone else does this, if you've already got children. Like, I'll buy in all this really good nutritious food in the fridge. I'll be like punnets of strawberries and melon and blackberries and all sorts of really good stuff in the fridge. And I will not touch it because I think, oh no, I'll save that for the kids. And I'll just go and get myself some, snack, some crappy snack. And I have all this good stuff in, but I think, no, I'm going to save that for the children, and it's ridiculous because I live in this house as well. I should be able to eat that fruit as well. But in my head, I'm thinking, no, I'm going to save that for the children. It's nuts. It's absolutely mental. And something that really, really kind of irks me is particularly when you have young children, when you have babies and toddlers, you get so many people that tell you, oh, make sure you take time for yourself. And I just used to look at those people and think, if I had time to take for myself, I would be taking that time, wouldn't I? The reason that I'm not taking time for myself to prioritise myself is because that time does not exist. From where would you like me to take this time? I have a tiny person who depends on me and my boobs and my snuggles, and what do I do with that? Where am I supposed to go? Where am I supposed to find that time? So I'm absolutely not going to sit here and patronise you by saying, oh, make sure you take some time for yourself, because I know how hard that is. I know how hard it is to find that time for yourself, because it's all encompassing having young children. What I will say though is that this time will pass. Every part of motherhood is an era, okay? It's just a storm that's going on now, and it will pass. This time will pass. And again, I'm not going to say enjoy every moment. That's another thing that used to really get me when the babies were young and people would say, oh, it goes so fast, enjoy every moment. And you can't enjoy every moment. There are some moments that are really awful, like sleep deprivation, where you haven't showered for 3 days. And, there are some times that are really awful. So I'm not going to sit here and say, enjoy every moment. I am going to say that it will pass. There are some really great moments, though. Like, I know I'm just there talking as if motherhood is awful, and it's not. There are going to be some really, really great moments. If this is your first baby that you're pregnant with, there are going to be some absolutely incredible times when you're snuggling your baby and you're looking down at them and you get that oxytocin rush and you think, how is it possible to love something this much? Like, I did not know before I had my children that it was possible to love another human being in that same way. Hold on, there's someone at the door. Sorry, right, I'm back. That was an Amazon delivery. They always come like at the worst possible time. Yeah, so there are going to be some really rubbish times and you're going to feel all the feelings and it's all going to get on top of you and you're going to feel rubbish. But there are also going to be some really incredible times, like when the babies hit their first milestones, when they smile for the first time, when they sit up for the first time, when they crawl, when they walk. Those moments are just absolutely incredible. But just know that every era, every storm is temporary, and the next era, the next time is just around the corner. So yeah, this year for me, I'm really just prioritizing my health. So I used to, before I had children, I used to do a lot of exercise. I used to go running, I used to go to the gym, and then I just kind of lost that. I haven't done that now in like 6 years, my body felt different. I just didn't have the time. When you don't have children, you have this freedom to just go to the gym whenever you want, to just go for a run whenever you want, to then you have time for a shower afterwards as well. You can go for a massage if you're feeling stiff, and you just lose that time. You just lose the ability to be able to just drop everything and do that once you're a mum. And you see on Instagram and you're scrolling, you see these fitness influencers that are like, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And no, we do not. So I can guarantee the people saying that do not have children. Because once you become a parent, no, you do not have the same 24 hours in a day as someone who does not have children. You don't have that freedom to spend all day in the gym and to do loads of meal prepping, and keep all your stuff nicely tucked away in the fridge, ready for you to have nice, balanced, nutritious meals. You lose that freedom. And of course, you accept that, and this is the next stage of your life. You've chosen to become a parent, and it is what it is. But you do lose a part of yourself because you're now a completely different person. There's that wonderful quote by Barbara Rothman who says that birth is not just about making babies, birth is also about making mothers. And it's true, you are now a completely different person once you've had that baby than you were before you had that baby. You're now a mother. You've never been a mother before. You're now a completely different person. And you have to get used to that, you have to find a new rhythm. You're taking care of a whole new person that you've never done before. But you have to find a whole new rhythm for yourself and find a way that you're trying to slot into the world in a different way, But now that my son, so he's 6, he's in year 1, and my youngest Annabelle, she is now going to nursery 2 days a week, so I do have a bit more freedom. I've got a bit more time, so I joined my local gym. It's just a really cute little community gym with just a few exercise machines. So I'm going to the gym again. I'm really enjoying feeling my body move and feeling my body get stronger. I've started prioritizing what I'm putting into my body. So at the moment, I'm not on a particular diet. I'm not following any particular kind of eating regime, but I'm making sure that I get in my 5 portions of fruit and veg a day, which I'm very embarrassed to say actually, but before I started to prioritize this, I could go a whole day without eating a single portion of fruit or vegetable, just because there are days where you're just surviving, where you're just trying to get through. You're giving the kids all the good stuff, and you're just surviving on snacks. So since the 1st of January, I have got 5 portions of fruit and veg every single day without fail. So I'm really proud of myself for that I'm prioritizing that. I'm prioritizing my water intake and also vitamins. So I've got a daily vitamin supplement from Wild Nutrition for women, which I'm taking every day without fail. And yeah, I'm feeling really good about myself, that I'm now in a place where I'm able to start prioritizing both my mental and my physical health. So whatever stage of parenthood you're in right now, if you're just about to kind of, enter the trenches, so to speak, or if you're in the trenches or whatever, the era will pass and you will find yourself again. You'll be a different person. It'll be a different self that you find, but you will find yourself again in the future. So what I really want to talk to you about today is self-belief, self-confidence, and how that has a real impact on your birth and your pregnancy and how that unfolds. Obviously, there are loads of factors that do have an effect on birth and how it unfolds, a lot of which you have no control over. But your self-confidence and the belief that you have in yourself and your body and your instincts and your decisions, that self-belief has a major impact. It's one of the big players in how your birth is actually going to unfold. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this today is because I saw the most incredible film a couple of weeks ago. It's on Disney Plus. It's called The Young Woman in the Sea, and it's based on a true story. It's a story of Trudy Edley, who was the first woman to ever swim the English Channel. And I was just so unbelievably inspired by this story, right? So Trudy Edley, she faced so many challenges to become a professional swimmer. This was in the early 20th century. So the first challenge, of course, was that women weren't actually allowed in public pools at that point. They weren't allowed in the pools because they were mainly being used for men. So Trudy Edley, in order to learn how to swim, but also how to swim competitively, she had to go to this kind of little pool that was just for women, and they had to kind of take turns in stoking the fires to keep the boilers going to heat the water, because this wasn't kind of public money. It wasn't being done, for men or by men in the big pools. It was just the women had to kind of figure it out themselves. So that was the first hurdle. And then she started to get a bit of a name for herself as she started to compete, and she won lots of trophies. And then she went to the Olympics, and this particular time, this was the first year that America had ever put a female swimming team together. But on the way over to the Olympics, which I believe were being held in France this particular occasion, and the American Olympic team, they were coming over on a ship. The women in that team, they weren't allowed up on deck to train, because the male athletes were up there and they were training, and the female athletes, they weren't allowed to kind of mix with them. So for that entire 3-week boat trip prior to the Olympics, the women had to stay in their rooms. They were confined to their cabins. So they weren't allowed to train for 3 weeks leading up to the Olympics. And then they got to the Olympics and they just had to compete. And shockingly, they didn't do particularly well. And so then the women were told, oh, well, you didn't do very well, so we're probably not going to do a female swimming team again. And it's just absolutely bonkers. And then Trudy Edley, she decided that she wanted to be the first woman to swim the English Channel. Some men had done it, but no women had done it by this point. And so she had this coach. And you know what? I Googled lots of these things after I watched the film. I Googled lots of them. And so many of these events, although there's a lot of artistic license, these are actually true events that actually happened in her life. She had this coach that was trying to sabotage her efforts to swim the channel. So like she was out there doing 3-hour sea swims, and he was feeding her like a bowl of grapes because he said that she needed to stay in shape and look good for the photographers. And she was like, I've just spent 3 hours swimming in the sea, I'm not going to survive on grapes. But no, he was trying to sabotage her efforts for many different reasons. I really recommend that you go and watch this film. And then as she did 2 attempts to swim the channel. The first attempt, this coach, they tried to sabotage her by like passing her an apple in the water, and the rules were that no one's allowed to touch the swimmers in the water. If anyone touches the swimmer, then the try is disqualified, basically. So he was basically trying to touch her to get her disqualified. Then eventually he actually ended up drugging her, and although this was actually never proven, Trudy Edley did have major suspicions, because she took a swig of the bottle that he handed to her in the water and immediately started to feel faint and groggy and had to be taken out of the water. So obviously in the film it's portrayed as he drugged her, but in reality, although that was never proven, Trudy Edley had major suspicions that it did actually happen. So anyone else, so many other people at that point would have just given up. They'd have said, okay, well, you know what, I gave it a shot, I tried, and it's not for me. But no, she found this other coach who had swum the channel, and he basically said, no, you've been set up for a fail here, you didn't have the right support, but I can help you do it. And she had the self-belief, the determination, and the team around her now that were actually going to support her and help her do it. And she tried again, and she did it. Oh my god, the journey that she had swimming the channel with that second attempt was just absolutely incredible. She swam through a group of jellyfish. What do you call a group of jellyfish? I don't know, like a swarm, a school, I don't know, a big group of jellyfish, and she just had to keep going to get to swim through them, otherwise the try would have been disqualified. If she'd got out to avoid the jellyfish, then it would have been disqualified. And then she got to a point where she got to the shallow bits as she sort of approached England, because she was swimming from France to England. As she got to the shallow bits, her support boats couldn't follow her because it was too shallow, so she had to swim her own way through these shallow bits. But it was getting dark and she got lost, and then people were lighting bonfires up on the coast to guide her towards the coast. And oh my god, I cried so much towards the end of that. It's absolutely beautiful. But there are I drew so many parallels between this attempt where she was doing this incredible feat of physicality. I drew so many parallels from this and preparing for birth. So one, of course, is her self-belief. She absolutely believed she was so determined to do this, right? And this is what I tell my clients, the people that I work with, that say, I want to be able to do this without pain relief. I want to be able to get through labour without pain relief. That's a priority to me. And so I tell women, if this is a priority for you, you have to go into that birth knowing that you are not going to use pain relief. It's not a case of, I'm going to give it a go and see how far I go. No, you have to go into that birth believing that you can get through it without pain relief, and you have to say to yourself, I'm not going to use pain relief. And you have to say to the people around you, I'm not going to use pain relief. Because if you go into that scenario, if you go into your birth thinking, well, I'd really like to try and do it without pain relief, but I'm probably open to having pain relief if it's offered, then in your mind you've kind of already failed. Like, you don't fully believe you can do it, and that will have a massive impact on your mindset once you're actually in labour. So another example that I took from the film, Trudy Edley, with this second attempt with the new coach that fully believed in her, that had all of her best interests at heart, she said to him, do not pull me out of the water under any circumstances. Do not pull me out of the water, and do not allow anyone else to pull me out of the water. And he promised her, he agreed to that. And this reminded me so much of me during my second birth. So getting through it without pain relief was a big priority for me. Like, that was one of my big priorities. And, everyone has different priorities, different things that are important to them. You, for example, listening, you might think, I'm just going to use the gas and air. That's a priority for me. Someone else might want the epidural. Someone else might want to do it with no pain relief. We all have these different priorities. But whatever your priorities are, you have to make sure that you go into birth with a clear mind, knowing that that is exactly what you want and that is exactly what you're going to do. So for me, I knew that I didn't want pain relief. So I put on my birth plans, do not offer me pain relief. And this is exactly, the same sort of thing with Trudy Edley. She said, do not pull me out of the water. I said to everyone around me, do not offer me pain relief. And the reason I said this is because when you are vulnerable, when you are in that state of mind where you are in labour and, you're in that kind of vulnerable state of mind, you are so much more suggestible to anything else around you. So although I knew that I did not want pain relief, I knew that I did not want gas and air, if somebody during labour had said, do you want some of this gas and air? Then I would have said yes. I would have just accepted it, because you are suggestible to things. And so if this is a priority for you, if you are out there determined that you don't want any pain relief during labour for whatever reason, then make sure people around you know not to offer it to you, okay? Because if it is offered to you, then whatever your priorities or wishes are, you will probably just accept it just because it's being offered to you, just like a bottle of water or sweets or what have you. And there was another absolutely beautiful bit, right, where Trudy Edley was starting to flag a little bit. She was starting to, she was getting tired. She was starting to feel really fatigued, and her sister jumped in the water with her and started swimming alongside her for a little bit. Her sister was someone who had trained with her as a swimmer when they were both younger, but her sister had kind of not done it competitively as they got older. She kind of went away from it a little bit, but her sister jumped in the water with her and did some swimming with her to kind of keep up her morale and do some motivation. And again, this to me was so like birth. It was just so, I could draw so many parallels from giving birth from this film, because when you are in labour and you're flagging and you're starting to doubt yourself and you're exhausted and you're tired, just a little bit of motivation from someone who knows you and someone who cares about you, that can make such a difference. Someone to remind you that you can do it because you are doing it and you've come so far already. That can make such a difference. And this is why choosing your support team is, the difference between someone poisoning your water bottle and drugging you and getting you dragged out of the water, and someone who is there getting in the water with you and helping you swim over the channel to England. So yeah, if you have Disney Plus, oh my god, you need to watch this film. It is so inspirational. And one more thing that from this film that I took that is so like birth is that all the way across the channel, Trudy Italy, she kept stopping to eat and drink because it's a really physical task, and she needed the energy. And you, during labor, make sure that you are keeping your energy up during labor. Make sure that you are drinking and eating things regularly, because giving birth is a really physical thing. I mean, I'm not going to say it's quite as physical as swimming the English Channel, but it's still quite a thing. It is still a massive task and something that you are putting your body through. So keep up your energy. Make sure that you are drinking and eating all the way through your labor. So I want to talk about you now. Yeah, so if you have a particular priority or a particular goal or something that you have a vision for your birth or motherhood, how confident are you in your ability to do that? So where is your self-belief in your ability to do that? I want you to have a little bit of a think about this. Is this something that you think, yeah, do you know what, I can absolutely do that, no problem? Is it something that you're thinking, I might be able to do it? Or is it something that you're thinking, do you know what, I would love to be able to do this thing during my birth, but I honestly don't think I would be able to? And I want you to do this as a journaling exercise, okay? I'm a massive fan of journaling. I talk about it a lot with my clients. It is such a great way of getting right into your subconscious mind. It's such a good way of getting your thoughts out on paper, particularly if you have a lot of thoughts, a lot going on in your head. Doing some journaling is an absolutely fantastic way of getting to the bottom of it. So if you have a particular thing that you want to achieve during labour or birth or motherhood or whatever, so maybe that's doing something without pain relief, or being able to advocate for yourself, or breastfeeding, or what have you. So where are you in your self-confidence to be able to do that? And I want you to write this down. I want you to write your thoughts on whether or not you'll be able to do this. And then if you're not overly confident in your ability to do this, if your self-belief isn't up where it should be, I want you to think about why. Why do I not believe that I can do this? Why do I not believe that I am capable of doing this thing? Where has that come from? Is it from people around me telling me that I can't do difficult things? Is it people around me that have tried to do this difficult thing and they haven't been able to do it? Is it from TV programs I watch where women aren't able to do this particular thing? Is it stories I see on the internet? Is it scrolling on Instagram and I see women not being able to do this thing? Where has this belief come from? Is it actually from you, or is it from external sources? And then when you know where this belief comes from, whether it is something that you truly believe yourself or whether it is just something that's come from external sources, this is something that you can work on. You know exactly where to target when you're working on your positive mindset. You know exactly what to target. And so now what I want you to do in your journal is I want you to, after you've explored your self-belief and whether or not you believe in your ability to do this thing, this priority, and where this has come from, I want you now to write down 5 impressive things that you have achieved. And I don't just mean swimming the English Channel. I mean, if you have swum the English Channel, that's pretty damn impressive. Definitely write that down. Or if you've run a marathon or climbed a mountain, those are pretty impressive things. But lots of us haven't done those things. So for someone who hasn't done things like that, something impressive might be you learn how to lift weights correctly at the gym. If that's something you were scared of doing and actually you push yourself and you did that, that's really freaking cool. You should celebrate that, and you should write down that you achieved that. You believed in yourself, you worked hard, and you achieved that. That is something that you should believe in. Maybe there was a job that you really wanted, but you were scared to go for it because you thought, you know what, I'm never going to get it. Or what have you, but you put in the effort, you believed in yourself, you went for this job, and you went to the interview and you got this job. Maybe you got your dream job. That's really, really impressive. So think about 5 things that you have done that are really difficult, but you know what? You did them, and you're proud of yourself for doing these things, okay? Celebrate these 5 amazing things, however big, however small, always celebrate these wins, okay? And if you got time, do you know what? Keep going. I have done this on occasion when I have felt a little bit low, I've felt a little bit bit down about myself in the past, I will just get my journal and I will just write all the things that I am proud of that I have achieved, and I will just keep going until I start to pump myself up again. I will just keep going until I've listed, until I've exhausted every single thing, and I will keep going, and that will make me feel so much better. So that is the end of today's episode. I hope that you have got a little bit from it and that you're excited to see what else is coming for the rest of season 3. Remember that if you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, any thoughts, do just send me a little email, send me a DM on Instagram, or however you want to contact me, and I'll be happy to chat to you. So enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll be back next Thursday with a brand new episode. So until then, love you lots, and take care. Thanks for tuning in to the Belle Mama Hypnobirthing and Positive Birth podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a review and hit subscribe on your favourite podcast platform so you never miss an update. I'd love to hear from you, so if there's a topic you'd like me to cover, or a question you'd like answered, or if you'd like to share your birth story, please get in touch by email or DM me on Instagram. Until next time, take care.